Good evening, everybody. My name is Gregory Houghton, and I am a 2B chemical engineer, and I'm here today to talk to you about everyone's favorite thing in the world, exams. I have some tips and tricks to you today on how you can successfully prepare for exams and hopefully ace them. So, what I found works for me in the past is that usually a month in advance before the exam period starts, is that I like to start taking notes on my lectures. And so what I do is that I go through all the lectures and notes that I take, and I try to condense what I have found. I find that doing so allows me to sift through the unimportant information, and I have just what I need to study for the exams in condensed format and ready to go. What I like to do after that, closer to the exam period, is start practicing problems. This, in my opinion, is the most important way you should prepare for your exam, as most of your exams is going to be problem solving. What I would suggest is going through the tutorials and assignments, especially questions that you struggled with, and try to retry them. Another great resource you could use is the Waterloo Exam Bank, where they have exams from past years that you can access. And of course, these questions will best indicate what you may find on your exam. A harder thing that you could do is that you could formulate your own questions. However, only if you have time, but it will be very helpful for you. The last thing I would suggest to do is not to panic. And these tips and tricks I gave you should help with that. If you prepare right and you prepare enough before the exam, you'll find that when you get to the exam, you'll know what to do, you won't panic, and hopefully you won't fail. I hope these tips and tricks are helpful for you, and please study.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Trent. I'm a 2A computer engineering student at the University of Waterloo, and today we're going to be talking about midterms and examinations, the big scary things. So, to start off, I want to start talking about as you approach midterms and exams, what you should be doing to start preparing. So, you kind of want to start thinking about this stuff about a month before, which is about halfway through when you start and midterms occur. So, you're coming up on that time now, nearing the end of September. So, the earlier the better. You want to sit down and set time aside for all the material that you need to cover for this midterm exam. So think about it. You want to cover all the units that you need to. So maybe you could sit down and say 1 unit per day, X amount of hours per day. You want to go into your calendar right now or whenever, the earlier the better, and book this time off for yourself. You don't have to think about what you're going to be doing. Just want to book this time off and say, this is 1 unit, this will be 2 units, this will be 3 units. Just ensuring you have this schedule, make sure that you will study. So you also want to plan for wiggle room time because as humans, we're not going to stick to these schedules 100%. You want to kind of have some spring time where if stuff does overspill into other days or you miss out, you won't get set behind. So that's very important. And of course, make sure to book some relaxation in there too. Book off some time or just set some time aside where you can go for a walk or play your favorite video game or hang out with a friend. So now you have that, you can kind of rest assured. But now as we get closer to the exam, probably just before when you have your scheduled time, you want to make sure as your time progresses to keep nice and tidy notes, or at least just the resources from the classes on hand so you can reference them when studying. I like to go through my notes and make a master note for each unit, so it would have my formulas or my key terms, stuff like that, so I can have it for reference right next to me as I'm going through the problems. For old quizzes, assignments, practice problems from the textbook. Don't feel like you have to do everything. Just do enough until you're comfortable, until you're bored because this stuff makes so much sense to you. Don't get burnt on a 1 unit though. So when you know that you have had enough or you're done for the day, stick to your schedule and come back to it later. Also, utilize the NSOC exam bank. Other kids have gone through the suffering of exams for your benefit. You can go and see those exams and see the solutions most of the time too. See what you'll be put up against. So very important. And a huge point that I want to make is to study away from your room. Do not study where there's a bed or a couch or your living room or your dining table. Get into a space that works for you. Go to the library if you can, if it's open. Go into your basement where there's no distractions. You want to be focused for that time. You don't have any distractions of all this jump into bed. And keep your phone away. Turn it off and go physically walk it over and set it over somewhere. You're much less likely to walk over and get a phone than pick it up off a table. And another big thing is use the Pomodoro Technique. What this is every 25 minutes you'll study. After 25, you'll take a 5-minute break. You'll do this a couple times until you deserve a 2-hour break. And it's a great way to make sure, because there's scientific proof, and you should look this up, the Pomodoro Technique, that after a certain amount of time, the diminishing returns is far too great that actually it benefits you. So look up Pomodoro Technique and keep that in mind and study. So now we're on to exam day. You want to make sure beforehand, exactly know where you're going, even if it's virtual. You want to know when to sign in or when to actually download the exam from CrowdMark. If you ever get nervous, this is a great tip I learned from one of my professors. Close your eyes, just don't look at your exam, and just think about a happy place. Go to it for 30 seconds. Think about hanging out with your family, canoeing on the lake, going for a run, whatever makes you happy. That 30 seconds of happiness and peace is way more worth it than the 30 seconds you'll lose of not doing work in an hour and a half exam. So, finally, try to put down something for every question. There's no reason why you should leave something blank. Very nice. So make sure you have down something. So guys, I hope that was a quick little rundown on some things you can do as you're coming up to your midterms and exams. My name is Trent, and I hope you guys enjoy. Take care.